Hi everybody, welcome to another beginner-friendly acrylic painting here on YouTube with me, the Acrylic Diva. Today we're going to do a little beach scene with some cypress trees, and I really like to work on these little mini canvases. Teeny weeny, teeny tiny, small but mighty. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go to the overhead camera. Let me know where you're coming from in the chat. I'm looking at chat here and I can see your questions. Let's start with the Princeton number 12. These are in your description. Also, I love these brushes. The Princeton Aqua Elite number 12. Let's start with a purple sky. We're painting in the style of the Fauves, so we're going to punch up the color quite a bit. So I'm going to take a little phthalo blue. I have my three colors that I always use here. Let me show those to you real quick. Phthalo blue, green shade, red shade rather, quinacridone magenta, benzimidazolone yellow, and I always have a fair amount of titanium white. So those are the colors, those are in your description too. So let's start with a little phthalo blue and a tiny bit of quin magenta on my brush. I'm just going to put it down, grab some titanium white, lay that in there. And let me just scoot over to YouTube real quick and make sure everything's working properly. I'll just grab my YouTube here and make sure everything's going according to plan. Okay, good. Okay, so we are live. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was working. Okay, here is our purplish sky. It's a little bluer than I want it, so I'm going to grab a little quin magenta, put that in there. And by the way, if you haven't checked out the Fauves, I'm going to put that in chat for you real quick. Let me just do that so you can check them out. Just Google this, Fauve painters, and you'll find all of these really wonderful painters that they're just amazing. You know, really bold color, lots of bold color. I'm going to lighten up this sky with a little titanium white. Now, last week I tried to put an overlay in the window while I was painting, and obviously I can't do two things at once. So I'm going to take a minute when this is starting to dry. I'll put an overlay in the window so I can say hello to you while I'm painting, because otherwise I'm just a disembodied paintbrush. So we're just working in the Fauve tradition, and I'm painting in a fashion that's called alla prima. That means wet into wet. That's the way I like to paint. So that purple sky is looking pretty good. I like that. So let me know in the chat where you're watching from. I'd love to know that. Now I'm gonna wipe my brush. I almost never put my brush in the water, for good reason. If I bring a wet brush back over here to my palette, it kind of ruins my paint. So I try not to do that. Okay, that's our sky. I've got purple on my brush. So I want to have an ocean here that's bluer. So I'm going to start with titanium white right here. It's going to look a little purple at first because I've got purple on my brush. But then I'll just go back and grab that phthalo blue, which is super, super strong. See, I only have a tiny, tiny bit on my paintbrush. And I put that down, and see, that's a really powerful color. I never can get the horizon line really straight. Oh well, I'm not gonna worry about it. Let's have a little bit more of that phthalo blue. Now I'm gonna wipe my brush, get most of that blue off. And now I'm gonna grab a little yellow because I want that water to have more of a turquoise feel. So I'm gonna grab a tiny bit of that yellow. It's gonna go green at first until I get the blue and the yellow mixture working properly. Let's go a little more yellow here. A little bit more yellow. Yellow is a pretty weak pigment compared to the Quin Magenta and the phthalo. It is really weak. So you'll usually see on my palette, I'll have a big thing of yellow, a little tiny bit of blue, and a little bit of Quin Magenta. That's because these two are so strong and that one's not very strong at all. So I always end up using more of that. Okay, let's lighten up this water a little bit with a little titanium white. That's looking good. We've got a nice green going there. Green, kind of a teal, a turquoise green. And you know, I'm looking at YouTube and it looks like the color's kind of washed out. So I'm going to darken things a little bit. See if you get better color that way. We'll see. It's always hard to tell what it looks like on a monitor. So let's put a few waves in. And that's just titanium white with nothing else. Just a little bit of titanium white. Just to give that a little wave action. Wipe my brush. And I want my water to be a little darker back here. So I'm going to get a tiny bit of that phthalo blue on my brush, and I'm just going to drag it right here, like so. And then just kind of blend it down. Little titanium white in that to help it blend. There we go. Now sometimes what I will do if I'm trying to get a horizon line straight is I'll turn my canvas and I'll actually come vertical. For some reason, I can draw a better line vertically than I can horizontally. And that's still not very straight, but I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, let's get going on the land. That's my favorite part. So in true Fauve style, we're going to have a lot of brilliant color in the land. I've got my brush is dirty. It's got blue and green and who knows what else on it. But I'm going to start with this Quin Magenta, which is going to overpower everything I have on my brush. And see, I can just lay that Quin Magenta down, and it's just going to mow everything else down because it's such a powerful pigment. Now the only thing about doing this live is that I need about 5 minutes of drying time, so between this layer and the next layer. So I can tap dance for you, sing you a lullaby, but we're gonna have a maybe 3-minute break while we wait for this to dry. Otherwise, we're gonna make a big mess. So I'm going to wipe my brush. Now, I'm not going to leave that just like that. I'm going to put some Ben's yellow in there. And I'm just making all kinds of marks with my brush. Let's add a little titanium white. And see how the fact that I had a dirty brush doesn't matter at all. I had a really dirty brush when I started this Quin Magenta, and it doesn't matter one bit. So we're going to have all these nice lumpy rocks at the beach. Let's have a little more that Ben's yellow. Little titanium white. We may even throw some phthalo blue in there to get a more earthy tone. Let's try it and see if we like it. Here's a little tiny bit of phthalo blue, super tiny bit. Let's put it right in here and see how it kind of makes that Quin Magenta, kind of muddies things up a little bit. You'll really be able to see it when I put some titanium white into it. See that more muted color that I got there? That's not a very fauve color, but I just wanted to kind of show you what you could do with that phthalo blue to take these colors that are so brilliant and push them back, make them more muted. So let's get that muted color off my brush. How long have we been painting? Like 13 minutes. We're almost done. Well, we're partly done. We're not almost done. Let's bring this back a little bit. It's a little too muted. Little titanium white. There we go. It's a little more vibrant now. And we need some contrast over here. So let's go with some Hansa. I keep saying Hansa. Benzimidazzle in yellow. And some down here. Wipe my brush. Little titanium white here. Okay, we have to let things dry for a couple of minutes. Just a couple minutes. So I will put this in front of a fan for just 2 minutes, and then I'll be right back. So don't go away. I'm losing my voice. Don't go away. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Well, I'm not going anywhere. The painting's going somewhere. I'm just going to turn the fan on it. Okay, I'm back, and I've got the fan going on that for about 2 minutes. That should give us time to let that dry. It'll also give me time to wash my brush. And do we have any questions? This would be a good time to ask me questions because we're waiting on that first layer to dry. I'll wash my brush. And it's pretty warm here today, so it probably won't take that long. While I'm waiting on that to dry, I do want to talk to you a little bit about these paintbrushes and the pigments I'm using, the paints I'm using. So let me go to the overhead camera here. Put these paintbrushes out so you can see them. So these are the Aqua Elite, Princeton Aqua Elite brushes. You can see mine are very well loved. And I have a number of these. The one I use the most is the 12. And I even use that on these really small canvases. Like, for instance, this guy right here. That's mostly painted with a size 12. Now, these are actually watercolor brushes. They're supposed to be watercolor brushes, but they're great for these fluid acrylics because the fluid acrylics are soft, very soft, and you don't need to push them around the way you need to push around heavy body paint. So these are really good for painting with the fluid paints. And I have a wide variety of these, from a 12 down to a 4, I think. The other ones that I like are the next level down, and that's the Princeton Heritage, the ones with the red handle. These are also good. If you can't get the Princeton Aqua Elite, then get the Princeton Heritage. And these are not that expensive. They're a synthetic sable. And, you know, I don't make any commission or anything while I'm talking to you about these. I don't work for Princeton or anything, although the information that's in the description that has links to my Amazon store, those I do make a commission on if you purchase them. But what I wanted to tell you was the Princeton Aqua Elite, I think this one is $12 or $13. And then, you know, 8 or 9, 7, something like that. They're not terribly expensive, but they're not super cheap either. They're not dollar store brushes, okay? So bear that in mind. They're really good though, really, really good. And then, of course, the golden paint that I'm using, you guys have that in your description as well. All 3 colors there. The magenta, phthalo blue, and benzimidazolone yellow, and then titanium white. And then the other thing I want to tell you about, which may not be in the description, that's glazing liquid. That's if you live in a really hot climate like Las Vegas or Arizona or something, or summertime here in Southern California. You sometimes will need this to keep your paint workable, okay? So there you go. That's a little side note. Let's get back to the painting. I think it should be dry by now. Pretty dry. Yeah, we're in good shape. Okay, so I'm going to do some cypress trees, Fauve cypress trees, which means they're going to be a crazy color. and I'm going to switch over to my number 6 Aqua Elite. I want a little bit more control. And I think I'm going to dip it in the water and then wipe it off really well. I never bring any water to my palette. I never do that because that will degrade your pigment. So try not to do that. Okay, let's have some cypress trees. And what color should they be? I'm kind of thinking blue. I think we'll go with blue. Yeah, blue's good. Blue cypress trees, why not? Okay, so I'm going to load up my brush and I am going to start here and I'm going to pull up. And when I do that, I'm going to push down and it'll make a wider line. So I'm going to start right here and push down. Go all the way up. And you can see I ran out of paint here, so we'll just go back, fill it in, but push down. When you're using that number 6, you want to push down because you want that thick line. And then let's have another one, maybe here, a little bit thinner, so I'm not going to push as hard, like that. And we'll come back down. Okay, good start for our blue trees. Matisse would be so proud of me. If only, right? Okay, some tree limbs. And I'm just using the tip of my brush and I'm not pressing down very hard. So just some tree limbs. Kind of like to roll my brush as I make those limbs. A couple small ones here like so. Maybe a couple up here. That. I don't know if you've been to Monterey or Carmel, you know that those cypress trees are so cool and they have all of these gnarly branches. Okay, I think we need I think we need another small one right here, just for good measure. Okay, now foliage-wise, for the tree leaves, I was also thinking blue. I'm kind of on a roll with blue trees lately. So let's go for blue. I'm gonna load my brush, and then I'm gonna just come sideways, like so. Because you know, the cypress trees have that very distinctive sideways tree foliage, tree leaves, whatever you want to call it. But it kind of goes sideways. So that's how I'm painting them. So we'll put a few here. And typically there's a lot of sky. You can see a lot of the sky in the trees. They sometimes pretty sparse. So remember that when you're painting trees. I say this every time I paint trees. I sound like a broken record. But remember that trees are not solid objects. They have lots of air space. So leave them airy. And take your time when you're doing the tree foliage, the tree leaves. Take your time and make sure you're leaving enough air. I think these are looking okay. We need some up here. Let's go in here a little bit. I think we're looking pretty good. This one might be a little bit sparse. Let's give it a little bit more here. You can always add more in, but if you fill it up too much to begin with, then you're kind of stuck. So take it easy and go slow. Okay. Any questions for me as we're going along? Just put them in the chat. I can see the chat, so I'm happy to answer questions. Okay, I think we're okay with our first go. Well, that's just out in the middle of outer space right there. Okay, I think we're pretty good. Let's have a little bit here and maybe a little bit here. There. Okay. Now I've got blue on my brush. So I'm going to wipe my brush. And I'm going to come back with a lighter blue. And actually it's going to be more purple. So I'm going to take some phthalo blue down here. I'm going to add some quin magenta to it. And you always need more quin magenta than you have phthalo blue. So let's see if that's what I want. Yeah, that's good. Okay, put a little titanium white in that because I want to shift the value a little bit. I want this lighter color to sit on top. And I'm going right down into that wet blue paint. So you want to be kind of gentle with that. So I'm going to lay that brush down. Just lay it down, and that's not going to be light enough. Let's go a little bit lighter. I really want that value shift. Let's see. That's better. Still not light enough. I have to go really light. Probably because I have so much blue on my brush. Let's see what we get now. Okay, that's better. A little bit lighter. I just want it to lay down on top. There we go. And you just want to be really gentle when you do that. Now, this is almost the same color as our sky, which might turn out to be a problem. We'll see here in a minute. Yeah, I think that's going to be a problem with our sky. So, we can fix that. No problem, we'll fix it. all we're going to do is come back on top of those purple areas with a little bit more light blue. Let's go here. Tiny bit of phthalo, a lot of titanium white. And wherever this is too close to sky, I'll just put a little bit of this blue down. And I'm not laying it right down on top of the purple like I'm trying to match it. I'm trying to just make another layer, actually. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. Our tree looks all right. It's not the best tree I've ever painted, but it's also not the worst. So, all right, now I am going to go back to my number 12. I don't have any blue on it. And I'm going to work on my land here. I want to leave the land just kind of a little blah right now. So let's have a few interesting rocks. Make some colors here. Let's start right here. A little yellow. That just a tiny bit lighter. And yeah, I know these aren't the colors of the rocks. The blue trees aren't the colors of the trees either, obviously. But, you know, I've been painting like the Fauves lately, and I'm really digging it because they don't use local color, what's called local color, which means the actual color something is. They use whatever color they want to. And I think that's great. So I'm sort of following along in their footsteps, painting blue trees and pink rocks and stuff. And it works for me. So let's grab a little yellow here. So I've got some crazy pink rocks going there. Let's have a little bit more yellow over here. Whoops, did I pick up blue? Looks like I did. Picked up some blue right here. Let's just wipe it off. A little bit of titanium white. Well, how long have we been painting? 30 minutes? I think we're finished. I mean, I could play with these rocks all day, but we're pretty close to being finished here. I think so. I actually want to touch up my trees. I think I'm going to bring the dark blue back. Hi, Bonnie. Welcome to the party. I'm glad to see you. Thank you so much for that comment. That's wonderful. Where are you coming from, Bonnie, by the way? Where are you watching from? I am going to go back and put that dark blue back on top. I just think it reads better against the sky. And you know, the thing about that, when I do these layers, like I had purple, and then I put a little light blue. Now I'm going back with some dark blue. That is not a mistake. I mean, you can change your mind, of course, along the way. But one of the nice things about doing layers like that is it really gives the painting sort of a depth and some richness that you don't get when you do things in one layer. Bradenton, Florida. All right, Bonnie, thank you for popping in. I'm so glad. How's the weather over there in Florida? Are you guys getting some warm weather? I hope. So let's see if I can add an overlay. I tried to do this last week and my overlays weren't working. So let's see if I can do this. Maybe I can do this. Let's see. Okay, there I am. Now let's make it not giant. We don't need it giant. And I'm actually barely able to see this, so hold on. There, that's what I was trying to do last week, and let's make it smaller so you can still see the painting. Ta-da! Okay, so there. That way you can see my little talking head and you can see me paint at the same time. I don't want to cover up the palette. There we go. There we go. Okay, I'll just save that for next time. That way I can talk to you at the same time I'm painting, but mostly going to see the top of my head because I'm looking down at the canvas. But we're almost finished, so I thought I would pop in and say hello, put a face to the paintbrush, you know. So any acrylic painters have questions for me? Let's answer those questions, whatever they may be. And oh, that dark blue looks a lot better, doesn't it? Don't you think? Yeah, I'm really happy we changed that. Okay. That was a group decision. Did you guys know that? Did you know you were in on that? It's a group think. Okay, I think I can quit playing with my trees now. I think we've got a pretty good looking Fauve style painting there. I could have gone a little crazy on the sky, but I thought I'd kind of dial it back a little bit. Not quite so crazy. I did one the other day that had a yellow sky, which I absolutely love. We'll do one of those too. We're going to be doing these on Friday. So be sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. There's a notification bell there somewhere. I don't see it. But when you hit the subscribe button and get the notification bell, then you'll know when I'm going to go live. And you'll also get the information when the new videos drop. They are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I have a really fun one coming up this Tuesday. You're going to really like it. Okay, well, I am going to pop out of here. You love the colors, Bonnie? Thank you. Thank you. That's, you know, that's all about the Fauves. Look them up. Take a look at them. There's some fabulous, fabulous painters. And there are people painting in that style now, too. So, but these are simple paintings you can do on your own. What did we do? About 30 minutes, 35 minutes worth of painting. Easy for beginners. And now you've got it, so you can replay it time and time again. And you can mute me so you don't have to hear my chatter. All right, well, I'm going to get out of here. It's Friday afternoon here in California, so it's time for me to, I don't know, maybe I'll go to the beach. You never can tell. Have a great day, and remember what I always say. Keep painting. I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye-bye.